संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। Good morning, everybody. Our San Diego Center celebrates Sri Krishna Puja, one of the avatars. And it's appropriate that we're going to speak about avatars today. I'm going to use the Sanskrit pronunciation of avatars instead of avatars, which is, it's kind of popular here. But let me assure you, this is not a preview of Avatar 3. However, all superhero movies and almost all movies are, but some form of an avatar doctrine. Yeah, you can't have a superhero movie without the underlying concept of an avatar. So here we are. So the word avatar is made up of two words, ava and tarana. That is, ava is down and tri is to cross over. So avatar, it's an ancient word in Sanskrit literature and it's found all over the spiritual history of humanity. So I will just take a few salient points of this very pervasive doctrine. It's huge. And we'll go through it. In the meantime, I will not look at certain, you can say, doctrines of prophets, messiahs, messengers, or rasuls, or saviors. For obvious reasons, because the subject matter itself is so dense. But I'll start with one observation, and which was Swami Vivekananda also mentions it. You cannot know God or reality or truth without an avatar. As simple as that. People have been dismissing these special persons as unnecessary to religion, but they are central to all spirituality, all forms of spiritual disciplines, all forms of religion. You take an avatar out of religion and nothing is left. Just dry bones. And we don't live on dry bones, We want something living. So briefly, a prophet is one who is, as I say, intermittently in contact with and speaks on behalf of divinity. Okay, this much. So he or she is an intermediary between divinity and humanity. So it's through the prophet that divine will manifest. The whole of Christianity was split, the schism, because of this doctrine. People were not agreed whether Christ was fully God, half God, fully human. What? Is it the Trinity, part of the Trinity, which Islam dismisses, saying, we don't believe in the Trinity. God cannot have sons. God is one. So this has been the ferment in the religious history for the last 2,000 years. A savior, on the other hand, wherever there's a gospel of salvation, there will be a savior. And this was picked up by the ancient Zoroastrian religion, in which they have they speak of the afterlife and the end times, what we call the day of judgment, when the Savior will come and come on, save. You are saved and you are not saved. Okay. So what about those who are not saved? Well, nothing can be done about it now. Too bad. Messenger. Messenger is someone who also is just a messenger. He's a human being, but a messenger. Like we have Prophet Muhammad. He is a messenger. He is never called an incarnation. So he's got Rasul. Even Islam struggled with these concepts of messengers, because there were many others who claimed that even I am a messenger. And we know what happened to those other messengers. They had a hard time, I'll tell you. So Messiah also has Hebrew origins, meaning anointed one, equivalent to the word Christ. A Messiah carries out a ministry of the prophet, priest, and king. So here we are. This doctrine has been, like I said, central to all religions, and it has given rise to claims, so many claims, so many people claiming. Even now you will get plenty of incarnations of Christ. Do you know that? You don't? Okay, there are plenty still living and still claiming that, yeah, we are the Christ. And not only that, we have other claims also that they are either Rama or Buddha or Krishna. There you are. Ramakrishna also. So these are pseudo, you can say, claims. So we're going to see what exactly makes a prophet, what are the signs, what is the prophet, the avatar's mission. So I'm going to use the crucible of the Vedas and the Upanishads and the spiritual literature in India, where this concept was the first developed, studied, expanded, and explained. So it will eliminate a lot of confusion. We will see what these other claims to avatars are. Okay. So these false prophets, yeah, okay, we have all these false prophets. Okay. Now, in the scriptures, the path to reality or truth is clearly delineated. You've got to do this, these are the means, and this is the end. The means are perfectly delineated, perfectly clear. This is what you need to put in. And this is the result, the fruition of all your results, the realization of truth or reality of God. Everything is crystal clear. But when it comes to speaking about how the Word became flesh, then the scriptures become kind of hazy. Yes, and this will be the final mystery in this universe. How can the infinite become the finite? How can the unlimited become the limited? How can the one appear like us? It goes beyond all reason and logic. So, we will also see this doctrine through the lens of Sri Ramakrishna, because in him you find certain clarifications. He says, I saw Satchidananda emerge from within this and declare, I incarnate in every age. So Sri Ramakrishna kept quiet. So this is a declaration of what an avatar comes and does. So one of the first signs of an avatar, the avatar dominates, like I said, not only the scriptures, but they are the authors of scriptures. That's the most important thing. No scripture can be given by mortals, because we are heirs to delusions and errors. So they speak, and that becomes the scriptures. So they dominate. They not only dominate the scriptures, the religious history, religion, spirituality, but they dominate art, culture, everything. You can see paintings and everything is all based on an avatar. Hymns and prayers, it dominates the spiritual consciousness of billions of people. That's important. It dominates the psychology of people. It dominates the lives and the times and the hopes and the prayers of millions of people. This is the dominant theme of an avatar in this world. If there is a claim to avatarhood, then this has to be the index, you can say. So when an avatar is within a human body, it's not necessary that an avatar only comes in human bodies, okay? That's just limiting the power of an avatar. Can come in well. So, but when it comes to us as human beings, the avatar energizes all religions. It doesn't come for one specific religions. So the avatar energizes all other previous incarnations' work as well, because they come to fulfill, never to destroy or to disrupt. That will be going against the grain of all spiritual search. It's never possible that avatar comes and saying, that guy, he said that was all wrong. Never. Humans will do that. So all forms of worship, all forms of prayers, rituals, everything is energized. All? Yes. So you don't need to convert from one religion to another because that prophet or that avatar is good enough. That prophet or that avatar will energize all religions. This has to be kept in mind because we are apt to narrow down our ideas of Godhead. The avatar comes for humanity, and there is no discrimination there. Okay. So the principal work of an avatar is, when an avatar is embodied, he or she lives the life of all humanity. How does he do that, or he or she? Yes, that is one of the things that an avatar does. He traverses the whole spiritual history of humanity, comes to the present, and then goes and traverses the whole length of the future. He embodies, or he or she, an avatar embodies the whole journey of humanity. It just cannot be otherwise. Oh, I only embody certain racial kind of history. No. A whole of humanity is embodied in an avatar. So everybody can converge to him. We can see him, in him, an ideal. He sets up a mold. He sets up practices for all of us. He shows what future humanity will be like. I'm one thing is sure, he is not going to be a gun-toting avatar. I'm sure of that. Okay? What will future humanity be? Well, something like this, like Buddha, something like Ramakrishna, something like Vivekananda, calm, meditative, internal, peaceful, enlightened. This is humanity. All those gun-toting, you can say, avatars in movies are only in the movies, please. So this is it's like, even when we are born, oh yes, and then culture comes, and then we keep on growing and growing and growing and growing, and then we become, from the human we become cultured and then divine. We also traverse, but the avatar does it in a wide sweep. The magnitude is kind of mind-boggling. So this is one of the signs of an avatar. The avatar descends for us to ascend. So an avatar descends. Why? Yeah, just because let's see what these guys are up to. No. It's coming for a very specific purpose. The guy has to take all of us up. So it is our ascension with an avatar. Okay. Then, how does an avatar accomplish it? Sri Ramakrishna says, I am the wiper out of the destiny of millions of souls. He calls it a kapala mochana. The wiper out of that which has been written for you, destined, what has been destined for you. That's the power of an avatar. It's not possible for any ordinary messenger, human being, or sage also to be like that. So he takes on the accumulative sins of the age and frees us so that we will get liberated, so we can ascend. Okay. An avatar becomes, as I say, an adorable form for the age. Technically, it's called Archana Murti. Murti is a form. Archana is worship. You can worship an avatar. And that adorable form is taken up by millions and billions of people. And they make it central in their life. So this is an Archana Murti. Like Sri Ramakrishna says, this form of mine will be worshipped in every home as time passes by. They know. Yeah, the kind of one of the things that they don't tell us directly, but we've got to figure it out. The avatar also becomes, as I say, the chosen ideal for the age, not only worship. It brings in a new form of worship, brings in new mantras, brings in new rituals. So it's called, becomes a Ishta Devata. So this is an avatar. It's an adorable form, but the avatar becomes a chosen ideal for the age. Sri Ramakrishna also says that an avatar comes down for the sake of his devotees. How is it decided when God descends? It is because we have been silently praying through all our tears and our sufferings and our misery. We have been searching for light and love and succor. And these prayers, as it were, have congealed and have brought down God. The God answers our prayers through an avatar. This much is kind of. An avatar commences a new tradition. It's called sampradaya, sampradana. So a new tradition has begun. Within the larger, you can say, sea of traditions, a new tradition commences. And in order to help in this mission, an avatar invariably brings in some very powerful souls. He won't do with flotsam and jetsam like us. He needs somebody who can be trusted. So that's what they accompany. Every avatar is accompanied by these souls, and they start a new tradition. So they build a network with the past, the present, and also the future. They build up network with all other past incarnations, like you just mentioned. So here it is. They have not come here to disrupt, to rock the boat, as they say. They have come here to smoothen our passage to the divine. An avatar, like when is still embodied, travels down the length and breadth of that country and infuses a new power in its old forms of worship. You find avatars moving from one place to another, invariably, from one temple to another. And all those dilapidated, neglected temples, etc., are rejuvenated. So wherever an avatar goes, that becomes a place of pilgrimage. Has to be there. Oh, Christ walked on this path, so we'll also go. This is the power of an avatar. Energizes or revives, rejuvenates all other forms of gods and goddesses. In our rush, in our newfound concepts of the world, we kind of neglect old divinities. An avatar comes and impels us to worship also those old divinities. So they also get a kind of a fresh lease of life. Because the avatar has to show a kind of a continuity. Every avatar is an evolution of past avatars. Has to be there. So there has to be a kind of a grand kind of symphony, and he plays the part. So these are some of the signs of an avatar. Briefly, of course. How did it even begin? In the history of the doctrine of avatars, in the Vedas, we get the first glimpse in the Rig Veda, which is one of the earliest, the extant book of humanity. It says, Indra Maya bi Purarupa iyate. Indra, through his Maya, takes on various forms. Indra is a king of the gods. Okay? So king of the gods can do that. Takes up various forms. That idea then was kind of dormant for a while. I mean, not a small while, a short while, for 1,000 years, but it was being slowly developed. What exactly is the implications of this? Indra Maya Bipur. Indra takes various forms. So the sages also saw that there was a periodic appearance of very powerful souls. They couldn't classify them as human. Take for instance, when you see a child playing the violin, which generally takes about 30 or 40 years to master, what happened? Is this a child? You doubt. He looks like a child, but plays like an adult. What is behind that violin, that playing? What's behind the music? We doubt whether this guy has fallen from the skies. We don't believe in all that falling from the skies. We fall from the skies and then go back to the skies. That is not within philosophical tenable arguments. So this periodic appearance of these powerful souls was kind of perplexing. How could a soul manifest so much of divinity, so much of glory, so much of knowledge, so much of bliss? How do you account for that? Like Swami Vivekananda, how do you account for Christ, who was born in the Middle East and in Bethlehem, and he was a son of a carpenter? Yeah, that's what he was he also learned it. Can a carpenter produce a Jesus Christ who is worshipped by half the world? There must be something behind this. So this was the inquiry as people were thinking, what's this? So then we have something called, in India we have the whole of the Vedic literature. The Vedas are not the doings of sages on the ordinary level of consciousness. They experience certain truths on the supersensuous level. What do you mean by supersensuous? That is on the superconscious level. You have something called the superconscious mind. In 99.99% of the people, it's not only dominant, people don't even know it. The only thing they know is the conscious mind, obviously, we're all conscious, and the subconscious mind, huge. Okay. They don't know that there is something called a superconsciousness. So there were certain sages who probed deeper and deeper within themselves and emerged out into the vast, realm of superconsciousness and experienced certain truths. And what they experienced, they brought out in words. These were the words of the Vedas. Vedas means knowledge. What do you get in superconsciousness? Oh, you can get and go and do good disco dancing there. No. You get all knowledge there. Consciousness is knowledge. So these form the bedrock of all spiritual literature, the Veda, the direct intuition. So the word rishi means one who's the seer of truth, one who can see the past, the present, and future. They break the rod of time and they live in their bodies as omniscient beings. And this is what a rishi is. But they found that in some rishis, there were even greater rishis. They were called the Maharishis, the great rishis. And people are kind of surprised. Who are these guys? They tower above everything, every known concept of humanity and even divinity. This is, so they are called, and there were various classes also. Then there were the Brahma Rishis and Raja Rishis, those rishis, remember, the word rishi means one who has broken the rod of time, one who is omniscient and yet lives in the body. And there were these kind of rishis who were kings. They were called Raja Rishis. They were the old Brahmins, they were called Brahma Rishis. But generally they were classed as Apta. They were one who had attained everything. They were perfectly unselfish. They were perfectly loving and perfectly willing to sacrifice themselves for the others. These were the authors of the scriptures, and amongst them there were some who were even of a higher magnitude. So people started saying, this is not an ordinary rishi. There has to be some great infusion of divine power in them. So, and along with those philosophical arguments like, what is this Indra through his Maya, through his kind of divine power, assumes many forms? What's this? Then we had another class of beings. They were called those ones who had a command from God. You know, Sri Ramakrishna asks the Pandit, have you been commanded by God to preach? Command? No, I don't. Nobody has told me to. Who's going to listen to you? Yeah. They were called Adhikarika Purushas. The ones who had the capability and also the authority to teach. Religion is always taught by such people, not like people like you, like me. We will imbibe some of their teachings and try to live up to those teachings. So these were the Adhikarika Purushas, tremendously powerful souls. So they said, where did these guys get all this power? Who commanded them? Go and preach. Yeah. You get this in the Bible also. Go and preach to Christ telling his disciples, go out and go and preach. He's commanding them. So there were some souls which were called those who had merged in nature and they emerged out after a cycle. You know, everything is cyclical. Everything, the tree, the plants, human beings, the whole world, everything is cyclical. Everything runs in cycles. And in the whole of nature too, there are certain souls that come up to the very crest of realization, and instead of merging into the ultimate reality, out of compassion, out of the willingness to help others, they stall themselves from this final merging and they enter into Prakriti, as they say. Nature. They get down into the womb of nature. And when this whole nature goes back into its seed form, like the tree, where did the tree emerge from? The seed. Yeah. So what is the tree? It's an evolution of the seed. And what is the seed? It's an involution of the tree. Which comes first, the chicken and an egg? We dismissed all that problem. We never had that problem with us in Hinduism. They are both parts of that same cycle. So here we have some souls, they merge into nature, and when nature stirs again and once again starts evolving and manifesting everything, these souls, they emerge as powerful as anyone can ever imagine, because all the powers of nature have been embodied in such souls. They are called a Prakriti Laya Purusha, those who had merged in nature and they emerged out as rulers of a cycle of creation. Yes, the whole creation moves around in cycle. They become rulers of that. So these were also said, they were the avatars. So this was also further developed by the Sankhya and the Yoga philosophies. We won't go into the technicalities, but yeah. So we had these kind of guys moving about, and so the Bodhisattva ideal is something like that. The Bodhisattva wants to now get liberated, enter into nirvana, but waits for a while, hears the cries of humanity and comes down to help us. That is, so in Buddhism, we find Buddha speaking about his past lives. Why, for example, we have a living example, the Dalai Lama. He says he is the 13th incarnation of, 13 times has come. What does he do? Helps people. So here we have this ideal right there in front of our eyes. So it's not a far-fetched theory. Yeah. Now, all religions, you see, there were these old traditions. You get your knowledge. Where do you get your knowledge? From books? Yeah, you read a little books. You can read a few books and become a surgeon. I don't think so. They won't let you. So I've read all the books on surgery. I'm going to be a surgeon now. Sorry. You've got to go and go to that lab, go to the do the internship and dissect bodies and this and that and all these things before you can, and under someone. You've got to learn firsthand from the other doctors. So there's a tradition in everything. Book learning is just not viable here. So similarly, in the realm of spiritual life, there is a tradition of the gurus handing over their knowledge to the disciples. The disciples in turn grow up to become gurus, and they hand over their knowledge to the next generation over and over and over. There has been a continuous, you can say, tradition extending generations after generations after generations. For more than 6,000 years, I claim my old tradition goes back to 6,000 years. I have a knowledge that has been handed down from generation to generation. I am heir to all that knowledge. I don't come like a new kid in town, as they say, a new kid on the block. And where's the guy come from? That won't do. You have to have a stamp of authenticity. And that's why Sri Ramakrishna had to learn his spiritual practices and conform his realizations according to tradition. So he was initiated by various gurus. Various gurus came and he initiated him into those particular practices, handed down that knowledge to the. So there is a guru and shishya tradition. Okay. Yeah. And in this tradition, there were some gurus who were kind of real, kind of great. They were as powerful as gods. Yasya deve para bhakti, yasya deve tata guru. Like if you can worship your guru as a god and a god as a guru, then all whatever has been said in the Upanishads, in the Shvetashvatara, will flash spontaneously in you. So the devotion to the guru was essential in gaining knowledge. There's another important factor. Why this doctrine of an avatar became current and became established? Because of the doctrine of reincarnation. You cannot have a doctrine of avatars without a doctrine of reincarnation. Simply impossible. Something doesn't fall from the skies and doesn't again rise to the skies. It doesn't. We'll dwell on it a little later. Now, when you talk about an avatar, we can see an embodied person. Like we all sitting here. Some of you are paying attention to, some of you are thinking of something else. What's there for lunch? It's a beautiful day. The guy yakking. Could have gone outside and sat down in the sun. So, I have to plumb your mind to see where exactly is. So I can look at you and say, okay, this guy is attentive. Okay, fine. I'm not wasting my time here. The mind of an avatar, for all practical purposes, you can see that avatar behaving like a human being, but the mind of an avatar is completely different. The mind of an avatar is identified with the totality of all minds in the universe, the cosmic mind. The body is there as an individual. Yeah, we don't realize, we are talking so much about the individuality. Our bodies, individual bodies, my body, my freedom, my this. There's not, your body is a body within all the bodies in the universe. Your body cannot live, sustain, survive alone. Your body depends on other bodies, other living beings. So you already are connected, but you don't realize it. Your mind also is connected to every other mind, but you're not aware of it. The avatar is aware of it. That he is identified with the totality of all physical bodies, he is identified with the totality of all minds, the cosmic mind. So the avatar stands, as it were, on the threshold of the entire relative universe and the absolute. Sri Ramakrishna says, Bhavamukha. He stands on the threshold. This is the absolute reality and this is the relative reality. The guy standing out there, at the same time identified with every body and every mind. That is an avatar. So now you know why these pseudo claims are there all over the place. If you ask them, this is one of the indications. Are you aware of it? No. There. Then you're delusional. So this is one of the greatest, you can say, peace. Now, who authenticates? Now, when we see somebody say, I'm an avatar. Really? Oh, kind of self-declare. No avatar will declare, he or she will to a select group of people. But generally, the test of an avatar is through not normal perceptions. We have normal, you can say, methods of knowledge, the 6 systems of methods of perception, cognition, memory, assumption, all these kind of things, There is another method of knowledge called yoga. So it is only through yogic perception can you know an avatar. You cannot understand an avatar through our own level of consciousness. It's only through yoga that you can. And certain yogis who have risen up to that level can intuit, my God, this is an avatar. In Sri Ramakrishna's life, some of his disciples say, what do you think of me? Sri Ramakrishna asks them, you are God. You've descended. And Sri Ramakrishna pleads, see, he recognized me. What is this? This is the form of yoga, the perceptions that come through the practice of yoga. Secondly, there are signs. When I look deeply into you, I can plumb into your kind of inside you. Similarly, there are certain signs of an avatar. If you plumb their actions, you'll find that these are not ordinary things. So one of the indications is Sri Ramakrishna was identified as an avatar, certified by someone called Bhairavi Brahmani, his guru. She was of highly elevated soul, a yogini, a female yogi. And she saw all the signs of the great bhava. It's called a mahabhava. And all the 16, he's saying this happens only in the bodies of avatars. It happened with Chaitanya, it happened with Radha. Tremendous. You cannot, Sri Ramakrishna never slept for 6 years. We don't sleep for 3 days and you know what happens? We start hallucinating. His body had become so hot, so that nobody could even touch it. So all these are the various signs of an upsurge of spiritual energy that was manifesting through the body in all these various forms. It's called the Mahabhava. An ordinary person might just, not in splinter, might fragment into 1,000,000 parts if a little of that energy is aroused. It doesn't. In ordinary human beings, we can go up to the state of bhava, that intense spiritual mood. We can go up to that. But avatars can go even higher than that. So it's confirmed through yoga, it is confirmed through these signs. And which is, the scriptures, of course, is the ultimate authority. Then avatar gives you an indication through visions to dreams. It's not necessary that you need to be there. You can be anywhere in the world. And it's happening hundreds and hundreds of times. In the Bible, some shepherds tending their flocks in the night. Who's tending the flocks in the night? Middle of the night? No. They're kind of maybe looking after that flock, keeping them away from the wolves. And the angel comes, there's the guy going to be born, go. So the avatars themselves go and herald their arrival. Sometimes it's directly, sometimes in visions, sometimes in dreams. This is one of the, I can say. Sometimes they themselves say it. Sri Ramakrishna says, he was Rama, who is Krishna, is now Ramakrishna. No. Yeah. It needed a lot of convincing to Swami Vivekananda for him to accept that. In the Bhagavad Gita, he's saying, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, etc. He's saying, Asito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravishimi. The great sages have spoken about you as God embodied. And you yourself are telling me now. Arjuna was kind of, So at times, they do state their reality to a select group of individuals. You see, their parents and their birthplaces becomes a place of veneration. Their parents are venerated. Obviously, if the parents were not pure enough, the avatar would not have been born in that family, in that womb. They must have been the purest of the pure. Can you imagine? So their parents also are venerated. Their places of birth also become venerated. And we have so much to go. Now we'll go a little faster. Only one type of avatars? No. There were hundreds of types. Okay. So there were partial Angsha avatars. There were Purna, full avatar. There were Yuga, avatars of the age. There were the Avesha, there was sudden infusion of divinity. Avesha, and I won't bore you with this. But there are various, you can say, avatar. Various levels of avatar according to the need of the times. even the great acharyas, the great teachers, like say Shankaracharya, he was kind of a genius when he was a child. Suddenly he becomes. So these acharyas also are considered as. So we have one doctrine in Hinduism, that's a 10 avatar. The first avatar appeared as a fish. That's a good sign. Yeah. We are not fish eaters, can eat fish. And now we find that our origins, we came from the oceans actually. And then the next one was amphibious. You kind of, wow, what is that turtle? You could live in water and you can live on land. And the third became completely, you can say terrestrial, you can say boar. And then slowly, and then we had a kind of a hominid, we had a small dwarf, something called Vamana. And then we had someone who was a little more savage. It's called Narasimha, half man, half lion and all this. And then we had the perfect man, Rama. So you find the doctrine of an avatar following the doctrine of, or the theories of evolution. Perfectly. So do we have only 10? No. The Vishnu Purana all is saying avatars are many, innumerable. So there are some books that say 10, there are some books that say 25, there are some that say. So there are different classes of avatars. So there we are, full of avatars. Okay. Oh, my God. I think you are not tired with this avatar business, I hope. You know what happens? Like, Sri Ramakrishna says, Holy Mother, she is the Divine Mother. What? How can that be? The Divine Mother of the universe appearing like this is just beyond our every conception of God. Girish goes saying, oh, he's a Bhairava, that is an attendant of Shiva. Swami Premananda, he was born as an aspect of the goddess Radha. Raja Maharaj, he was a playmate of Krishna. Swami Shardananda, Ramakrishna, they were the companions of Christ in the previous. Here you are. Who's ordinary here? Everybody has some kind of precedence. And then the avatar race during the, you can say, mythological age in India really took off. The avatar was not limited only to humans and sages, but to gods and goddesses. Now these gods and goddesses are being reincarnated as human beings or this and that. Here you are. So everything fell into places once the doctrine was put into place. This is how it happens. And then things became much more clear. Nobody was startled by all that huge spiritual power that we see manifest. They see, wow, this guy has brought so much power along. Who is he? Like Swami Vivekananda, he was one of the 7 sages, 7 ancient sages. There he is. Obviously he's going to be like this. Now, I'm going to leave you 2 main doctrines. One is, how did the infinite become the finite? Vedanta says it doesn't. What do you mean? Doesn't? Okay, look at that. It is done through the aspect of Maya. So Shankaracharya, in his great introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, says, Jata eva lokanugram eva dehavan eva. As if he was born, as if he is doing good to the world, as if. So Bhagavan, that Bhagavan, he is pure, he is perfect, he is everything, appears in this world as if he. Even the Bhagavad Gita, Ajopi Sanavya, though I am unborn, yet I embody myself by subjugating my own nature, and I embody myself. Is it possible? Yeah, it is possible. In a way, we are a microcosm of that. You see, we know what we are. and we throw out various aspects of our personality outside. We don't really show people what we really are. Our thoughts, words, and deeds are just kind of a veil over what I really am. I'm a cluster of sub-personalities. So I am also have that form of Maya. I try to sidetrack or distract people from understanding me. However much you know a person, you will never can know that person correctly. You can never plumb that person correctly. That person has so many thoughts, so many hidden secrets. Nobody knows. That person knows. So what do we see around? Yeah, the person walking, laughing, joking, talking. So we also we throw out a kind of a veil around us. God also, when he comes, he throws out his own magic of Maya and appears as if he is born. Otherwise, the whole doctrine of Godhead will fall down if the unlimited become limited. So if the unlimited becomes unlimited, that means it was never unlimited in the beginning. It is mutable and it cannot be the reality. So Vedanta does not want that. The next is that avatar is in a way real. So Sri Ramakrishna's father, he goes to a place called Gaya, where after rituals that he undertook for his ancestors, his ancestors appeared in a dream and they were very pleased. And then what happened was, in that dream, God appeared saying, I'm going to be born as your son. No, you're for thrill. But I'm so poor. I'm not able to afford you. No, don't disrupt my will. I want to be born. Whatever you offer me, I will accept it. And then Siddharam knew that this being is going to be born. And in another place at home, Sri Ramakrishna's mother saw a divine light emerging from a Shiva temple and entering into her. And she felt she was pregnant. Wow. So she also knew this. And then her husband comes back from the pilgrimage saying, this is what happened. Be careful now. Don't tell anybody. Okay, yeah. A divine being was going to be born. So here, the Bhagavad Gita also says, many births have I taken, the Lord says, and you too, Arjuna. I know all of them, but you don't. What? Bahuni me vyatitani janma. My God, it's real. There it is. I'm going to leave you with one thought at the end of this whole avatar doctrine business. It is, now if an avatar, as we know, is real, has been the evolution or the incarnation of previous avatars, invariably, there's no standalone avatar. There is no standalone individual. Your present thought, where has it arisen from? From your previous thought. And where has that arisen from? From your previous thought. And that you are a chain of consequences, series. You embody your past in your present thought. Your present thought will be embodied in your future thoughts. If God descends on this earth, then God as a reality will mean that all of us also reincarnate. All of us are in a way and avatars of our previous avatars. You were an avatar of yesterday's you. The whole universe is an avatar of a previous universe. And this was kind of presented by Carl Sagan in one of his Cosmos series. The whole thing is an avatar, it's an incarnation. Everything, the tree is an avatar of a previous. All our superheroes are avatars of previous. Everything. This universe and everything in it is an avatar of previous entities. There is nothing new in this universe. You are not new. I am not new. None of us are new here. We've been coming and going, reincarnating. So I said, if God incarnates, that is reincarnates, avatar means incarnate. Only God can do it. And one time only, sorry. Hinduism says it will dismiss it, sorry. And that's why, and Hinduism can accept any avatars, but no other religion can accept Hindu avatars. That's that broadness that we need to inculcate in us. Not only avatars of other religions, everything is an avatar. You are an avatar today of what you did since morning, since all your life, in your previous life. There is no break. Death does not stop you from existing. Death is just a kind of a interlude. Everything is an avatar. So this doctrine is avatar, is speaking about us. And where do we go so that avatar comes, God comes to show us the way to the greater reality. Then we will get free from this prison house of this constant re-embodiment and re-embodiment and re-embodiment. Nothing is new here. Forget the old thoughts of everything is new here. Nothing is, everything. The whole process, the whole universe is nothing but recycled matter. Everything is being recycled. What was in the stars in the supernova a few billion years is now in your body. It's all recycled. We are all just... There's nothing new here. So this is the reality. And God comes to show us the way out of this constant, this recurring, this embodiment. How do we do that? By going to an avatar. We go towards that. Come to me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Swami Vivekananda quotes the Bible. Daivi esha gunamayi mama maya duratya mamevaya prapadeyu. Those who come to me will be free from this maya. They give you the assurance. Come to me. I'm going to free you. That is the work of an avatar. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
Sweet refuge, you are to me in this ever-changing life. Sweet refuge on every sea, through the struggles and the strife. Joys, they come and go like waves, they ebb and flow. Like sorrows come and gone, the sun rises with the dawn. Sweet refuge when all sweet refuge. In all my songs, words and tunes you give to me. And when questions rise and answers are not found, I look within your eyes and feel your grace abound. Sweet refuge in life and death, two sides of the same coin. Sweet refuge in every breath, my heart to you belongs. Wherever I may go in this world, my eyes do see. May I always know you're always here with me. Sweet refuge, you fill my heart with love that overflows. Sweet refuge, your faces, your names resound above, below. Guide my every step in beauty and in peace. I shall ever sing your praise for your love that doesn't cease. Sweet refuge, precious refuge, sweetest refuge, precious refuge, you are to me. My sweetest refuge, precious refuge, sweetest refuge, you are to me.
Thank you for that wonderful song. Yeah. It captured the whole message of the seeking refuge. There's a special announcement from the convent on Saturday, September 11th. The anniversary of Swami Vivekananda's first talk in the United States. They will be celebrating a second nuns conference. So they had a very successful nuns conference in 2012. And considering the current state of affairs, it seems like a nice time to hold it a second time. They will have nuns from San Francisco, Hollywood, and Santa Barbara discussing real-life issues and question and answers. It will be informal and practical. The conference will be in the temple and online from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Bring your own lunch. Beverage will be provided. Next Sunday is 5th September. Overcoming our fears. Sister Pravrajika Krishna Prana will speak. So, welcome. And as we know, on Wednesdays at 5, there's a reading of Eternal Companion. And Saturdays at 5, again, we have the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna read. I will meet some of you outside, and those who have questions can stay back, and I'll answer a few of them if you have questions. Yeah.
And I never really feel like anything's happening, or I just don't do it. And then I watched your series on mantra yoga.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I'm here, because
Oh.
I didn't even know this place existed.
Oh,
I
really?
thought I had to go to Hollywood to talk to you. And I called up and I said, I want to go talk to that guy. And they said, oh, he's coming to Santa Barbara. I said, really? Where?
Ah.
So here I am, but I have it like it's kind of an emotional, personal question. So I've been following this guru for 4 years.
Hmm.
So, you know when you say to do the mantra,
Yeah.
envision the deity?
Yes. Yeah.
With love and devotion.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Can you do that to your guru? Can you put him there with
No.
love and devotion?
The guru has to be kept here.
Okay, so that's what
Meditate on the
I'm
guru.
unclear on that.
Yeah. The guru has to be meditated on the top of the head, and your chosen ideal has to be meditated here in the chest,
In your heart.
in your heart.
So I guess because I haven't gotten to the point where I have an initiative.
Initiation, yes.
I had an initiation, but it didn't
Was it a formal initiation?
kind of, yeah. But
If it is a formal initiation, then you follow the protocol, follow the methodology that your guru has told you. But remember, you meditate on the deity here, yes, and the guru should be meditated here. Seated on a lotus of 1,000 white petals. You cannot figure it as 1,000, no. Just white lotus. The guru is here on a white lotus. And here your chosen ideal should be meditated on a red lotus.
now, is the guru supposed to give me my ishita? I'm supposed to ask him what it is? Or am I supposed to? Because I don't really know any of the Hindu. I mean, I know Krishna and Shiva.
Then you have not been formally initiated. Yeah, because there is a kind of a ritual, a kind of formal ceremony that is, and then the guru kind of teaches you what exactly what is your chosen ideal. There are some people who who love to worship Shiva or Vishnu, or somebody is Rama, Krishna, Christ, or Buddha. It depends on your personality.
Right, and okay.
So what you do is, since I have to rush because there is, I could give you my email. Do you have access to email?
Yes,
Oh, there.
okay. And then I could ask you questions now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, that would be wonderful.
That'd be kind of feel
Oh,
kind of.
perfect,
Okay.
thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. You have a kind of pen. Yeah, you could just and a piece of paper also.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll email you.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's really nice. And then when you come back here, I can come again.
I'll be back only in October and September, not September.
Okay.
But continue watching that mantra yoga.
I'm just watching it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that was a great course. I loved that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I thought he's the guy to ask.
Yeah.
So it's like doing the mantra without that doesn't seem like it's
No. It will kind of it'll feel dry.
exactly. Okay. Thank you very, very much.
Vedanta. Okay.
Yep. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
You could give that. Yeah.
I have two questions that are pretty different, but one is on reading Swami Satyamayananda's
Yeah.
book on the way to spiritual illumination.
Yes. Ascent to spiritual illumination.
I just wanted to comment more that it just seems like it's so practical
Yeah.
I was initiated by Swami Satyamayananda
Ah.
many years ago, but the meditation part's always been slow in coming from me, but
Hmm.
I wondered, I practiced, I do hatha yoga too,
Mm.
and I also do this thing called qigong, it's
Yeah.
qigong,
Hmm.
and I just wonder, it seems like a good form for me because it's wordless and it seems to have that draw me into the energy and awaken the chakras.
Forget your chakras, forget your energies. Okay. That thing is kind of, you cannot awaken your chakras because the chakras are within the subtle bodies. It is nothing to do with the gross body at all. No, the gross body has these various plexuses, and that is kind of called chakra. So what you do is, I've been giving a series of classes called Mantra Yoga, but before that I've been giving meditation for beginners. So I would like you to go through that. Also on YouTube, on Vedanta.org. Go through that, and it's kind of graded. So one leads to the next and the next and next. So once you get a clear idea of what exactly you ought to do at every stage of meditation, then it becomes kind of clear for you. Then you won't ask me this question about meditation I've been doing and nothing's happening. So it will take care of itself. You've been doing but not doing it correctly. Yeah.
I think incorrectly part is just not.
Yes. Yeah.
As regular as I was
So,
told to do.
yeah. So you do that, and then you follow. You kind of interact with me. I come here.
But just like you were saying, I missed what you were saying to her the day before. I missed that. I didn't hear, but it was along with.
That was for her. So I don't want to, because you have already been initiated by Swami Satyamayananda.
Yeah,
You will have to follow
what he told me.
what he told you. Yes, exactly.
I would.
Just go through the instructions once again and follow.
But
Yeah.
also look at your.
Yes, meditation for beginners, and then again I had another second series, meditation skills for meditators, and now we are continuing something called a mantra yoga. So, yeah. Okay. So good. So, yeah.
So I understand it is Maya. It's a social construct for us to for that particular energy that sweeps us. Like in the last 2,000 years would be Christ. My question is really that we have just recently, in the last 2 years, we have gone through a period of time that I have never seen before, where there's been a transformation still happening. We're not out of it. I think we're right in the middle of it, of the whole human psyche, and it's not philosophically driven. And I don't see our churches crowded. I don't see a clergy standing up. So,
You see,
and not the rebirth part, and yet I don't see it on Avatar coming, and I know that it has to be different because we're not talking the old type about love.
yeah.
I haven't even heard the word love in this whole thing. So there's a different, something is happening, and maybe you can shed some light on it.
You see, the world has not seen this as kind of new. It has seen things much worse. The bubonic plague had wiped the Justinian plague had wiped everybody in Europe. Plagues and
This is worldwide. The other one was just,
no. Even the Spanish flu. We've had all the periodic, you can say, huge waves of destructions. The world has seen plenty of this. This is nothing new. And like what you're talking about,
the destruction of the world
Not destruction of the world.
Pretty much of Earth, there's no stopping it, is a lot of what science says, and it's going to happen, and yet there's nobody saying anything of the God consciousness.
You see, what happens is, you're talking about people are not going towards God, the churches are going empty, God consciousness. The idea of God has now come out of the pulpit and the church. They are everywhere now. Nobody has a kind of a domain on the idea of God as this is the only way. Because people are looking at every other tradition and enriching their own religion and tradition, because that is what is. There's a lot of interaction going on between different religions, different sects, different traditions, and that's the good thing for humanity. So you may see a decline in organized religions, but there's a general kind of awareness, a greater sense of awareness that is kind of making us feel connected with everything else. Today you are talking about the environment, we're talking about saving the environment and saving the animals and birds and this and that. This wasn't there even a few years ago. So these are nothing but spiritual values. So these things are coming because people are getting interconnected, people are learning from each other. So one church learns from the next church. There are so many, like Baptists will learn from the Presbyterians, and the Southern Baptists will, there is now a tremendous dialogue going on. And that is important for religions to, in one of our interreligious meetings, I said, either religions stand together or we fall down together. It is not kind of nice to have religions fighting against each other. Saying, people will say, these guys, they haven't solved their own problems. They can't get along together, get along with each other. So there is a comprehensive idea of spirituality, of religion, of truth, which is being now slowly percolating in the consciousness of human beings.
I don't see that.
You may be not seeing it here or somewhere else, but the world is a very large place. You see, the whole of Asia has been religious for thousands of years. You see there, you may not see it in your denomination, in your church, in your locality, but it does not mean that, you see, what happens is religion can never die out. Why? Because it is an innate expression of the soul. So it has been with human culture and human civilizations for not only 10,000 years, 2,000 years. It has been with us for millions of years. We have always been seekers. We have always had some form of religions. We are not just talking about this is a religious instinct or the religious search that is embodied in this religious doctrine. No. People now are talking about being spiritual than religious. So it's a long way. It's your duty and my duty and everyone's to speak about this reality, this inner search that is there within human, to redirect people towards that divinity within. So it's not meant, oh, these guys, they are doomed. Nobody is ever doomed. So we have a long way to go, but religion can never leave human consciousness. Take, for instance, today neurology and psychology and physics and all, what are they trying to study? Consciousness. That's the ultimate frontier, they're saying. But no, Vedanta says this is the first step. That's not the ultimate. So the very fact that the people are trying to understand what is consciousness, let's put it like that, consciousness is everywhere. It's within you, within outside. That is what is called God. That is what is called truth. That is what is called reality. So in some form or the other, people are seeking that consciousness. That's a good thing. Every form of science is trying to boil its, you can say, search down to, if we can understand this, we'll understand everything. So this is a new form of religion. Take it. You don't need to go out to a church and kneel and pray. Well, you can, by devotedly pursuing this knowledge itself, will lead us to higher and higher understanding of this world and what is visible, what is invisible. Okay? So, it's better, I could say, oh my God, people are so irreligious. I know it is a lie when I say that. That religious instinct is too deeply implanted in us. It will not go out. So Swami Vivekananda says the search for truth in the external world is science. The search for truth in the internal world is religion. And I mean all religions. All religions. Whether it's Islam, it's Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Shintoism, it has been there, and we are all getting together. And we are slowly going to develop higher and higher ideas about religion. Take it like that. Ideas, religious ideas also evolve, and we will be evolving higher and higher ideas of religion. Okay? I need to leave you here because I have another program coming up.